The Indiana Fever didn't just blow out the Las Vegas Aces, they broke 9 WNBA records in one night. Kelsey Mitchell passed Tamika Catchings. Caitlin Clark passed Sue Bird. Sophie Cunningham did something never before seen in franchise history. But stick around, because there's a 10th record buried in this box score, and it belongs to Las Vegas. It's the most embarrassing stat line in WNBA history, and A'ja Wilson is never going to bring it up herself. So we'll bring it up for her before she cries us another river. Who did you root for in this game? Let me know down in the comments below.
Cunningham sidestep, launches again. Good! Again! Cunningham cooking!
Before tip-off, the only question anyone cared about was simple. Could Caitlin Clark even go? She'd been sidelined with a back injury, and everybody knew she wasn't walking into this game at full strength. So the real question wasn't just if she'd play, it was what happens to this Fever team when their best player is capped at 25 minutes against a team like the Aces. Stephanie White had a plan before the ball even went up. Clark was getting a careful reintroduction, something like 20 to 25 minutes, tops. The goal wasn't to win one July game, it was to protect Clark for the stretch run, especially after last season got wrecked by injuries. So White put a number on her minutes before tip-off, and that number sat over the whole game like a countdown clock.
Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, where tonight on the Strip, inside Michelob Ultra Arena, the Fever close out their 4-game trip where it began against the Aces. The ball is tipped, and the Fever have it first. Aaliyah puts it on the floor, drives, and scores. First play, first bucket for Indiana. Dribbles outside right wing, 3 over, Wilson is good!
And that creates a real tension when you're watching it live. You've got a superstar on the floor, but she's on a leash and every possession feels like it might be her last for the night. You know the box score isn't going to capture what she's actually doing out there, because efficiency doesn't show up the same way volume does. Clark wasn't out there to pad stats. She was out there to see how many possessions she could win in a limited window. Then, the third quarter happens. Clark finds a teammate, the ball goes in, and the arena realizes she just picked up her 600th career assist. That number means something bigger than just a stat on a screen, because it makes her the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 600 assists, doing it in only 72 games.
Hand. Dump down to Billings, long strides, and one opportunity.
So both Passat and Gray staying off of that ball.
Compare that to Sue Bird, the all-time assist leader in league history. Bird built her assist total over close to 2 decades of basketball, game after game, season after season. Clark got to 600 before most players even find their rhythm in this league, and she did it in barely over a season and a half of games considering she missed most of her second season. An assist record hits different than a scoring record, and it's worth sitting on why. Scoring records are about one player getting buckets. Assist records are about how fast you make everyone around you better, and Clark did that faster than anybody who's ever played this game.
She did 19 points, so she gets some early tick here today. Clark threads the needle, down to Timpson, tough finish.
So exactly what Chelsea told Ashley about getting downhill, and that was off of a screening act. And there's so much attention on Caitlin Clark, as you can see, but Timpson gets off that screen so quickly. Turner a little late to recover, the help isn't.
Now stack the second piece on top of that. Clark is averaging 20.1 points a game this season, but she's doing it in only 29.6 minutes. The fewest minutes per game ever recorded for a guard in a 20-point season. That's not just a scoring line, that's a guard putting up star numbers in less than 30 minutes a night. Something no guard in league history has ever done.
Clark missed the last game, managing that back to go. Wire-to-wire victory. Last night never trailed, right now they do. Here's Caitlin.
And just continuing to step back and you see how far out Wilson is on her, still with the hand up.
Clark missed the last game, managing that back to go.
Here's the irony nobody's talking about enough. The more Indiana protects her body, limiting her minutes, managing her workload, the more insane her per-minute numbers start to look on paper. Less time on the floor, same production, and suddenly the efficiency numbers look like a typo. So look at the actual line from this game. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists in just 24 minutes. On the surface, that's a quiet, solid night. But those 24 minutes bought 2 separate WNBA records. The fastest to 600 assists, and the lowest minutes per game for a guard in a 20-point season. 2 records, 1 restricted player who happens to be the most efficient guard in the league right now.
I feel good. Had a hard workout day after the Phoenix game, felt great there, and then obviously we had practice yesterday, so I feel ready to go, and I'm excited to play 25 minutes, and excited for my spurts to be a little bit longer, so that should be fun.
And while all that was happening to Clark, somebody else on this Fever roster was putting together a night just as historic, except almost nobody outside Indiana was watching for it. How does a player drop 27 points and still somehow fly under the radar? That's Kelsey Mitchell for you. She doesn't do interviews like it's a press conference for president. She doesn't chase the spotlight. She just gets buckets. And while everybody in the building was watching Clark chase history, Mitchell was quietly climbing the Fever record book right alongside her, 1 possession at a time, without a single guy on commentary even noticing until the numbers popped up on screen.
Kelsey waiting for the right time. Oh, that was off the strip. Gray recognizes time is winding down. Kelsey Mitchell averages 8 points in the second quarter, finished with 11.
I'll tell you this much, Kelsey Mitchell is cold. Look at her surveying the floor. She didn't need the screen, just steps right into that 3-point shot last 6 games.
First record of the night, 300 career games played for the Indiana Fever. That puts her second in franchise history, behind only Tamika Catchings. And if you know anything about Indiana basketball, you know that name gets treated like scripture around here. Second on that list, behind Catchings, is not a small thing. Then, stack the next one on top. Mitchell hit her 729th career three-pointer, passing Katie Douglas for 7th most made threes in WNBA history. Look at the names above her on that list, and it reads like a Hall of Fame ballot, shooters who defined entire eras of this league. And Mitchell just climbed past another one of them like it was routine.
Mitchell, I mean, just look at the Jets. Hasn't even put him on full throttle yet. She's looking for something. Count it.
Kelsey Mitchell has got gears. She has 6 straight games with 20 or more points. Over the course of that, over 27 points per game. It's because she can score at all 3 levels.
Here's the part that actually explains why this keeps happening. Mitchell doesn't just make shots, she makes them over and over, night after night, without missing time or missing rhythm. That's where the real record shows up, not in one big scoring night, but in the streak that keeps refusing to end. 38 straight games scoring in double digits. That breaks Tamika Catchings' own franchise record, and the streak is still going as of this game. Think about what that actually means. No cold nights, no off games, no matter who's guarding her or what the scouting report says about taking her out of the game plan.
For all of these players, they're stars.
And Becky Hammond said future Hall of Famers on this floor tonight. No lies told. Mitchell off balance. She is in double figures.
Add one more layer. Mitchell just picked up her 6th straight game scoring 25 or more points, and that puts her 3rd all-time in WNBA history for that kind of streak. She trails Tina Charles, who put together 7 straight back in 2021, and she trails one more name sitting at 8 straight from 2024. That name is A'ja Wilson, which means the player Mitchell is chasing down for this record plays for the exact team she just helped blow out on their own scoreboard. Let that sit for a second, because Vegas didn't just lose the game. They watched one of their own franchise cornerstones get name-dropped as the target in the box score of their own loss.
Kelsey Mitchell is cold.
She's the fastest player in the league with the ball in her hand.
She is the fastest guard I've ever seen in my life.
I don't really think there's anyone in the league that can keep Kelsey Mitchell in front.
And lays it in! Mitchell puts the Fever in front with 10 seconds to play.
With her quickness, the speed, explosiveness, and strength.
Retreats, step back 3, it's good! Kelsey Mitchell with a big one.
It's the 38th game in a row for Kelsey Mitchell, scoring double-digit points. passing Tamika Catching's record.
6 straight games with 20 or more points. Over the course of that, over 27 points per game.
Add it all up, and Mitchell picked up 4 separate franchise and league records in a single night. 300 games played, 729 threes made, a 38-game double-digit streak, and a 6-game streak of 25+. 4 records, 1 game, and she still wasn't the most talked-about player on the floor. That's what a quiet night looks like when you're Kelsey Mitchell, apparently, and she wasn't even the most efficient scorer on the roster that night. That title belongs to somebody who didn't start the game, somebody who checked in off the bench and put together the most efficient scoring performance in Indiana Fever franchise history. Mitchell's numbers are the kind that build over a career, quietly, methodically, but what happened next came out of nowhere, and it happened in a stat category most fans don't even know existed.
Mitchell, just dynamite from anywhere on the floor.
One of the hardest guards at 2 guard in this league.
Ball Mitchell, rise and fire, 3!
Her pull-up, jumper, her 3, her defense, so she has it on both sides of the floor.
The game's fast, but it also slowed down for her.
And she shows up every single day and she gives us everything she has.
I just try to stay in it. I don't want nothing from nobody. I love the game. I want to give back to the game the best way I can. And the preparation, the work that I like to think that I put in, that's what you guys see.
How do you shoot over 100% true shooting in a real WNBA game? That's not a typo, and it's not a stat glitch either. Sophie Cunningham actually did it, and to understand how, you need to know what true shooting percentage measures. True shooting percentage isn't your regular field goal percentage. It folds in threes and free throws, weighing each shot by how many points it's actually worth, not just whether it went in. A normal great shooting night sits somewhere in the 60s or 70s. Cunningham posted 111%, which basically means every shot she put up was worth more than a normal shot, and nearly all of them went in, especially since most of her shots this night came from the three-point line. That's about as close to perfect as this sport allows anyone to get.
This team in the league because of the way they share the basketball.
Cunningham, that's what she does.
Las Vegas going to a zone opening.
Less than a minute to go here in the third quarter. Feeling it! She gets hot quickly.
Her actual line, 20 points, 6 of 7 from 3. 6 threes, 1 miss the entire night. That performance is now the most efficient 20-point game in Indiana Fever franchise history, a record that includes every great shooter who's ever worn that jersey. Zoom out past just this one game because the shooting has been like this since she got to Indiana. Since joining the Fever in 2025, Cunningham is shooting 43.3% from 3. And that's not just good for her roster, that's the best mark of any player in the entire WNBA over that stretch. Every sharpshooter in this league, and Cunningham's the one sitting on top of the list.
And there's something to say for a team that goes through adversity. At times, it can bring you closer together. Cunningham, feeling it. She's hunting them now.
You don't want that.
Cunningham drills it.
And she's still climbing. This season alone, she's shooting 43.5% from deep, a career high, meaning the player with the best three-point stretch in the league is somehow still improving on it in real time. 2 records for Sophie in one game, most efficient 20-point night in franchise history, and the best three-point stretch of any player in the league since she got to Indiana. Now, zoom out even further, because this wasn't a one-woman show. 6 different Fever players scored in double figures the same night, which means this wasn't Clark carrying the team or Mitchell putting the offense on her back. This is a full roster clicking at the same time. And that team performance carries its own record. This win is the second largest in Indiana Fever franchise history. 9 total records in one single game, and that's before we even get to the 10th one still coming.
Boston keeps it for herself, attack mode and scores.
Aaliyah Boston is a huge part of that. Let's talk about matchups within.
Aaliyah Boston spent the night locking up Wilson defensively and still walked away with 19 points and 11 rebounds of her own. That's not a role player having a nice game. That's a starter shutting down a former MVP while still filling up her own stat sheet. Ty Harris chipped in 10 off the bench. Monique Billings matched her with 10 of her own. Neither of them needed to do much talking. The box score did it for them.
She's looking. A little change of pace. And Harris was pivotal in the win against Phoenix. Drills her first shot.
A big reason why is how she's been knocking down three-point shots with consistency, nearly 40% from deep.
This is the part that should scare every other team in this league. It wasn't one hero putting the team on her back for a night. It's 5 or 6 players who used to be role players and specialists, all playing like pieces of the same machine, all in sync on the same night. And buried in that same box score, sitting right next to all 9 Fever records, there's a 10th record. It belongs to Las Vegas, and it's not one they're going to want to explain.
And Indiana has done this a few times. Gotten the basketball out of the rim quickly. Cunningham sets her feet. 3 for her.
And that was a deep one. And for Sophie Cunningham, who shot so well from 3 on the season in the last 2 games.
Here's that 10th record, and it's buried in the same box score as all 9 Fever records, except this one belongs entirely to the team that just got run out of their own gym. Go back 1 game before this. Las Vegas beat Phoenix by 48 points. 48. That's not a win, that's a demolition. The kind of score that makes people start talking about a championship run. Then 2 games later, they walk into Indiana and lose by 34. Same roster, same coach, same league, and somehow the whole identity flipped upside down in 48 hours. Do the math on that swing and it comes out to 82 points. An 82-point difference in point differential from one game to the next. And that's the largest swing in WNBA history. Not top 5, not close to it. Number 1, all time, and Vegas owns it.
And I wonder if I could ask you one other question about Mitchell. You've coached against her for a while. She's on a stretch now where I think she has 6 games of 25 points or more, and you talk about speed. Is that a big part of why it is so difficult to guard her, how quick she is?
Yeah, I mean, her motor combined with her skill set it's just hard. She's super fast. She never quits moving. They set a ton of screens for her. I don't know if they're all legal, but she gets a lot of screens.
Sit with that for a second, because this isn't a bad shooting night or a rough second half. A 34-point loss right after a 48-point win isn't a slump. It's a full collapse of everything that team was supposed to be, and it happened in the span of a single week. So naturally, post-game, everybody wants an explanation. A'ja Wilson stepped up to the mic and started talking about the whistle, calling out what she framed as sketchy officiating, hinting that Indiana got a special whistle all night.
Becky touched on the reviews in this game and maybe how they impacted the pace. I'm wondering, as a player on the court, how does that impact the flow of the game? And is it a little frustrating, or do you even pay attention to it?
Yeah, I honestly don't pay attention to it. And of course, reviews and everything is going to get in the way. But at the same time, we shouldn't even be putting ourselves in situations to have to be reviewed, even though some calls may be a little skeptical.
Becky Hammon backed off that specific angle, but leaned somewhere else, pointing at the schedule, saying her team needed rest, saying 3 games in 4 days against the fastest team in the league puts pressure on any defense.
Not only that, I don't like posting her. I kind of like her in mid-range. I like her in space. To sit there and bang against Aaliyah Boston for 40 minutes is really hard on somebody's body, especially when they allow the physicality that they do. And that team was more physical than us the whole night on both ends.
Except the box score doesn't back any of that up. Indiana out-rebounded Las Vegas 35-28. The Fever racked up more assists, more steals, and fewer turnovers across 40 minutes of basketball, and the shooting numbers aren't close either. Indiana shot 56% on 2s and 48% from 3, while Las Vegas managed just 39% and 24% in those same categories. On top of that, the Fever hit 18 of 19 free throws, a 95% clip that has nothing to do with whistles going one way or another. None of that comes from a referee's whistle. Rebounding position doesn't come from a call. Ball movement doesn't come from a call. Bench players stepping up and hitting open shots doesn't come from a call either. Turnovers, or the lack of them, come from a team taking care of the ball for 40 straight minutes, not from a ref's decision in the third quarter.
I think just for overall, we just need to rest our bodies. I was literally telling Jackie and Chelsea that towards the end of the game, it was a lot of rim out shots, a lot of short shots that we would normally make. I think we just need to rest. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I don't want to flush this game away at all. I think we need to understand we can't look like this anymore against any team. But I do feel like just we need to rest a little bit.
And that gap shows up in the post-game rooms too. Aaliyah Boston stood up after the game and talked about defense sparking the offense, about getting the ball to reverse side to side until the right shooter found it open. That's a team talking about basketball. Meanwhile, in the other locker room, the conversation kept circling back to officiating and scheduling and fatigue, even as Wilson herself admitted her team just didn't show up, win or lose, back-to-back or a week off.
Yeah, I think we let our defense spark our offense, and then offensively, we moved the ball, we kept it popping. I think that's really just been a focus for us. It's just getting the ball reversed, and then it's going to find who should shoot it, and I think we did a better job today.
On those nights that your offense does go best, how quickly can you tell that you guys are playing the way you want when it's coming?
Yeah, I think you can tell right away. I think for us, it's about making sure that we stay consistent through 4 quarters.
That's the part that actually stings for Vegas. The same team that hung 48 points on Phoenix, that looked like the best team in the league for one night, couldn't find an excuse big enough to explain away an 82-point free fall against Indiana. You can blame a whistle for 1 or 2 possessions. You can't blame a whistle for getting out-rebounded, outshot, and out-hustled from the opening tip to the final buzzer. And that's really the gap that matters here. It's not just a stat line sitting in a box score. It's 2 franchises walking out of the same building with completely different ideas about what just happened to them. 9 records sounds like a stat dump, but it's really 9 separate proofs this roster finally clicked at once. Clark's passing, Mitchell's streaks, Cunningham's shooting, Boston locking down Wilson, 6 players in double figures. That's not luck. Now picture the rest of 2026 with Clark fully healthy, Mitchell still chasing history, and Cunningham shooting at a level nobody's found the ceiling for yet. And that's the real gap here. Vegas walked out talking about whistles and schedules. Indiana walked out talking about rebounding, defense, and ball movement. Only one of those conversations builds a champion. Who did you root for in this game? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications as we're bringing you all the action and top stories. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.